When the news anchor said shelter in place, my neighbor laughed and went to Starbucks. 3 hours later, his family was trapped outside the quarantine zone. Most people completely misunderstand these 5 critical phrases that actually mean get home now. When you're scrolling through your phone and suddenly see shelter in place trending, your stomach probably drops. That 3-word phrase means one thing: stay inside right now because danger is literally outside your door, not tomorrow, not in an hour, right now. Most people think shelter in place only happens during tornadoes or hurricanes. Wrong. Chemical spills at nearby factories trigger these orders. Active shooters in your neighborhood do too. Even gas leaks from construction accidents can lock down entire city blocks faster than you can say emergency alert. The phrase itself sounds almost polite, doesn't it? Like someone's asking you to nicely stay put. But here's what it really means. Stepping outside could seriously hurt or kill you. Government officials don't throw these words around for fun. They use them when the air itself might be toxic, when bullets are flying, or when something invisible and deadly is drifting through your community. Schools and companies now train for this phrase more than fire drills. Why? Because shelter-in-place scenarios have tripled in the last decade. Your kid's teacher knows exactly which windows to cover and which vents to seal. Office managers have emergency supply lists memorized. Even mall security guards practice these procedures monthly. The weird part is how quickly normal life stops. 1 minute you're planning dinner, the next you're taping plastic over your windows because a chemical truck overturned 3 miles away. Emergency management officials learned from past disasters that clear, simple language saves lives. No confusing jargon, no maybes, just shelter in place. Then there's the waiting game. Unlike other emergencies where you evacuate and move to safety, shelter in place means you become your own safe room. Your house, office, or classroom transforms into a protective bubble. You're essentially betting that 4 walls and a roof will keep you alive until whatever's outside passes by or gets contained. Government agencies coordinate these orders through multiple channels simultaneously. Local police, fire departments, emergency management, and even the National Weather Service can issue shelter-in-place commands. The goal is reaching everyone within minutes because some threats move fast. Chemical clouds don't wait for you to finish your coffee. Modern shelter-in-place orders also account for our connected world. Officials know people will immediately jump on social media, call relatives, and start sharing information. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes it creates panic and spreads wrong details that put more people at risk. What makes shelter in place different from other emergency responses is the isolation factor. You can't run toward help. You can't drive away from the problem. You're stuck wherever you are when that alert hits your phone, and that location better be somewhere you can seal yourself in safely. But shelter in place represents just one type of emergency language you need to understand. When authorities need to control movement for different reasons, they reach for an even more restrictive term that stops everything cold. When breaking news flashes lockdown in effect, your first instinct might be to think about schools. That's fair. Most of us grew up practicing those drills where teachers locked doors and kids huddled in corners. But here's what they don't tell you. Lockdowns happen everywhere, and they're not just for classrooms anymore. Picture this scenario. You're grabbing coffee when suddenly every employee starts locking doors and pulling customers away from windows. The manager's radio crackles with urgent instructions. That's a business lockdown, and it happens more often than you'd think. Banks do it during robberies. Hospitals lock down when dangerous patients escape or during security threats. Even shopping malls can go into lockdown mode faster than you can say Black Friday sale. The word itself carries serious weight. When police issue a lockdown order for a neighborhood, they mean business. Maybe there's an armed suspect on the loose. Perhaps a dangerous criminal just escaped custody nearby. During these situations, movement stops completely. No stepping outside for a quick smoke break or walking the dog. Zero exceptions. Then there's the workplace reality most people never consider. Office buildings practice lockdown drills just like schools do, except adults somehow take them less seriously. Workers joke around or check their phones during practice runs. But when a real threat emerges, like an active shooter situation or violent domestic dispute spilling into the parking lot, that same procedure could save lives. Here's a mind-blowing statistic. Over 95% of American schools now conduct regular lockdown drills. That means an entire generation has grown up knowing exactly what to do when danger lurks nearby. They've been trained since kindergarten to recognize that specific tone in an adult's voice. That means this isn't practice anymore. The psychology behind lockdowns reveals something interesting about human nature. People often resist being told they can't move freely, even when their safety depends on it. Some folks ignore lockdown orders. thinking they know better than authorities. Others panic and make dangerous decisions like trying to flee during active threats. Hospitals present unique lockdown challenges that most people never consider. What happens when you can't evacuate patients on life support? Medical facilities have complex protocols for different threat levels. Sometimes they lock down entire floors while keeping emergency rooms operational. Other times they seal everything except critical care units. The enforcement aspect gets tricky too. During neighborhood lockdowns, police can't physically guard every house or apartment. They rely on people following instructions and staying indoors voluntarily. Breaking a lockdown order during genuine emergencies doesn't just risk your own safety, it diverts resources from catching actual threats. Modern lockdowns also involve technology in ways previous generations couldn't imagine. Automated systems can seal building entrances instantly. Security cameras help monitor compliance. Mass notification systems send updates directly to phones. But what happens when the immediate danger passes and authorities need to communicate that safety has returned? That's where another critical phrase enters the picture, and understanding its true meaning could determine whether you stay protected or walk straight into lingering danger. Picture stepping outside for a midnight snack run, and suddenly finding yourself face to face with police officers asking why you're violating curfew. Well, that awkward conversation just became your reality when cities announce curfew enforced starting now. Unlike shelter-in-place or lockdown orders, curfew means you can't be outside during specific hours without special permission, period. The streets become off-limits to regular folks like you and me. Cities don't throw around curfews for minor inconveniences either. They save this tool for serious situations like riots, natural disasters, or widespread civil unrest. Breaking curfew isn't just frowned upon, it can lead to police stops, hefty fines, or even arrest depending on your local laws. Officers patrol specifically looking for curfew violators during these times. Your excuse about needing milk from the corner store won't cut it when public safety is at stake. The first major citywide curfew in U.S. history happened in 1965 after the Watts riots in Los Angeles. Makes sense, right? When chaos erupts and people's safety hangs in the balance, keeping everyone indoors becomes the fastest way to restore order. Since then, cities across America have used emergency curfews during everything from hurricane damage to protest violence. But here's what catches people off guard. Curfews often start immediately when announced. No 3-hour warning. No grace period to finish your evening jog. When officials say starting now, they mean it literally. You've got minutes to get home, not hours. Emergency curfews protect people from harm during chaos. But they also help police and emergency responders do their jobs more effectively. Fewer people on the streets means faster ambulance response times and easier identification of actual troublemakers versus innocent bystanders. Then there are the exceptions everyone wonders about. Essential workers like doctors, nurses, and emergency personnel typically get special passes or identification allowing them to travel during curfew hours. Journalists covering the story might also receive exemptions. However, your job at the pizza shop probably won't qualify as essential during a riot-related curfew. The weird part is how quickly normal neighborhoods transform during curfew enforcement. Streets that buzzed with activity just hours earlier become eerily quiet. Traffic lights cycle through their colors for nobody. Even 24-hour businesses shut their doors early when curfew hits. Some cities announce curfew duration up front, maybe 3 days during hurricane recovery. Others keep it open-ended until the situation stabilizes. Local officials make these calls based on real-time conditions, not predetermined schedules. Social media amplifies confusion during curfew announcements too. People share conflicting information about start times, exceptions, and penalties. Stick to official city websites and local news broadcasts for accurate details. Your neighbor's Facebook post isn't a reliable source for legal requirements. Curfews represent serious government authority in action. They're not suggestions or strong recommendations. They're enforceable orders backed by law enforcement. Understanding this distinction keeps you out of unnecessary trouble when emergencies strike. But what happens when the danger finally passes and authorities need everyone to know it's safe again? You're scrolling through your phone during an emergency, desperately looking for that magic phrase, "all clear given." But instead, every official source keeps saying the same thing. All clear has not been given yet. Your heart sinks, because you know what this really means. The danger is still out there. Emergency responders don't mess around with the all-clear signal. They treat it like the nuclear launch codes, only issued when every single threat has been eliminated. Not reduced, not contained. Eliminated. When a SWAT team clears a building room by room, They don't announce all clear until the very last closet gets checked. When hazmat teams respond to a chemical spill, that all clear doesn't come until air quality tests pass multiple times. But here's where people make deadly mistakes. Social media becomes flooded with fake all clear messages within minutes of any emergency. Some well-meaning neighbor posts, "Coast is clear on Maple Street." Meanwhile, the actual shooter moved to Oak Street. Random Twitter accounts claim police say it's safe now, while officers are still hunting the suspect. These false signals have gotten people killed. The official all clear only comes from legitimate sources. Police departments, fire chiefs, emergency management agencies, not your cousin's Facebook post, not some random news blog. The real deal comes with specific details, like which streets are safe, which buildings can reopen, or when people can leave their homes. Hospitals and airports have turned all clear into an art form. When a suspicious package gets reported at an airport, entire terminals shut down, bomb squads roll in, passengers wait for hours. Then there's that sweet moment when the loudspeaker crackles. All clear has been given for Terminal B. People cheer like their team just won the championship. Well, the waiting part can drive you absolutely crazy. Some emergencies drag on for hours. Active shooter situations average about 12 minutes, but the all clear might not come for 3 hours while police sweep every corner. Chemical spills can keep neighborhoods locked down for days. The 2013 Boston Marathon bombing manhunt kept entire cities on edge for nearly 24 hours before that final all clear echoed through the streets. And the weird part is how quiet everything gets right before the all clear comes. Police radios go silent. News reporters stop their frantic updates. Emergency vehicles sit idle. It's like the whole world holds its breath, waiting for those two simple words that mean safety has returned. Then there's the psychological game your mind plays during these endless waits. Every siren makes you think the danger got worse. Every helicopter overhead feels like bad news. You start checking your phone every 30 seconds, refreshing news apps like a maniac. The smartest people treat all clear not given yet as a red flag that waves until official sources lower it. No exceptions, no shortcuts, no assumptions. But what happens when news outlets start reporting something even more unsettling, when they can't even confirm what type of danger you're facing? When reporters say unconfirmed reports of ongoing incident, your brain should immediately switch to high alert mode. This isn't journalist speak for maybe something happened. It's their polite way of saying something bad is definitely happening right now, but we don't know how bad yet. Here's what makes this phrase so dangerous. News stations use it when they're getting multiple calls from police scanners, witnesses, or emergency responders about an active situation. The details might be fuzzy, but the threat, that's real. They just can't tell you if it's a gas leak, an armed suspect, or something worse until official sources confirm it. The tricky part is timing. Early reports during major incidents almost always start this way. Remember the Boston Marathon bombing? First reports called it unconfirmed explosions near the finish line. Same pattern happened during the Las Vegas shooting in 2017. Initial news reports described unconfirmed reports of an active incident on the Strip. Both turned out to be massive emergencies that lasted hours. But here's where people mess up. They hear unconfirmed and think it means probably nothing serious. Wrong move. Emergency responders don't waste time on nothing. If multiple agencies are responding to the same location, something significant is happening whether the news has all the details or not. Then there's the social media problem. While news stations are being careful with unconfirmed reports, random people on Twitter are posting videos, rumors, and half-truths. Some guy with 50 followers claims he knows exactly what's happening, while the actual news station with professional sources is still saying unconfirmed. Guess which one people believe? The wrong one usually. Smart people treat unconfirmed reports like confirmed emergencies until proven otherwise. Makes sense, right? If you're in the area where this unconfirmed incident is happening, you stay inside, you avoid that neighborhood. You don't drive toward the scene to see what's going on like some curious tourist. Emergency teams hate when people show up during active incidents. Police, fire departments, and paramedics need clear access to the scene. They can't do their jobs effectively when civilians are wandering around trying to film everything for their Instagram stories. Plus, if the situation escalates, now they have more people to protect. The waiting game during unconfirmed incidents can stretch for hours. Authorities won't give detailed updates until they have accurate information. They'd rather say nothing than spread wrong details that could cause panic or put more people at risk. Patience isn't fun, but it keeps everyone safer. Local officials become your best information source during these situations, not your neighbor's Facebook post, not some random news blog. Official emergency management accounts, local police departments, and established news stations give you the real updates. They're the ones talking directly to incident commanders and emergency coordinators. Your safety depends on taking unconfirmed reports seriously from the first moment you hear them. Better to overreact to a minor incident than underreact to a major emergency that could affect your life.